let's talk about these AI automation agencies.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I think that is probably one of the best sectors to try to make money because you could sell it to everyone and the potential impact is huge. It's not good for jobs, but most jobs out there could like a lot of them could be automated right now already, which is the craziest thing. And so what I would say is try to because selling it's going to be the hardest part, right? And so I would try to think about developing the skills on how to do this, but specializing in applying this to anywhere where you have connections already. Because you're going to
Mm,
need someone to trust you enough to at least give you a chance. And because if you execute this properly, the returns can be crazy for a business like you can take on some risk in terms of saying, okay, I'll do the first one or two businesses for free, and then they're going to have crazy results that the word of mouth will come in a very big way. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity to make money. There's still a fairly steep learning curve, I would say. Like a lot of the tools are pretty like not all that user friendly. They're a little intimidating still at the current point. So you are gonna have to push through that. And so if you're not someone who can sit with discomfort, you probably won't stick with this. But I'd say it's probably one of the best ways we're going to talk about to be making money because there's competition, but there's not that many people. It's kind of like SMMA 15 years ago. It's pretty similar in terms of the timing of it all.
what is SMMA?
Social media marketing agency. That's another thing we're going to be talking about later. That's what I started for my first very serious business. I had dozens before, but this was like my first like one that I still run to this day. So I'm a big advocate of social media marketing. And this is why I'm an advocate of this and say the AI automation agency is because service-based businesses are always going to give you the best margins. And so really as someone who has no money, like I didn't, the you can't really play in any other space unless you're creating money from nothing, which is like understanding thought and time. So that's another way to apply that is once you learn this skill once, you're not trading time for money anymore. We've talked a lot about, I don't have the book with me right hand or on hand, but Naval Ravikant says how important leverage is. And these are both very high leverage activities to make money if you don't have a lot of money. So I would put it at probably A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna move it into the A section. Um, I would say the one thing about the AI automation agency that's gonna hold a lot of people back is, I mean, some of the stuff that you already brought up,
Hmm.
which is just like if you're not pretty social, then it could be a little bit difficult to actually make this work.
Yeah.
And
Because if you're not good at content, you want us to shut it down the screen. Uh, you if you aren't really good at content, it's reached a point now where it's hard to break through, especially in a sales-based capacity. People are very fatigued. So if you're not good at relationship-based sales, this will be tough to get into. What's up, Keith?
we should bring up that thing that I sent you on Twitter, that kid.
Oh
Um,
yeah, the cold outreach thing.
yeah. So let
Yeah,
me pull that up real quick.
yeah.
Because basically, like you need to be a salesperson to make
Yeah.
this happen. Like that's kind of what you really need to do. So let me share this with you real quick because I thought this was hilarious, and it's
You can also
actually
hire a salesperson too, but you
true.
definitely need to sell like this.
Yep.
Hello?
Hey, is this Donnie?
Yeah.
Donnie, this is Owen. You want the good news or the bad news?
Who is it?
This is Owen.
Owen.
Do you want the good news or the bad news, Mr. Donnie?
I want the bad news.
Bad news, Donnie, this is a cold call. Good news is this is a well-researched cold call, and if you give me 30 seconds, I can explain how I can help you.
You know what? I like your style. Go right ahead.
Perfect. So it's pretty simple. We build AI reception.
Yeah. So first of all, who knows if that's real?
Yeah, for sure.
But I will say that I did door-to-door sales for a summer, for like 2 months or whatever, and like the skills that you acquire from getting rejected are pretty insane. And it's also like the sales skill is difficult to explain how important it is because when you have that, so many doors open up for you. I remember knocking on doors in out west in Canada, and multiple times I went from them telling me like get the F off of their porch to them spending thousands of dollars and like them feeding me. Like
The
people are
door.
crazy creatures, but you've got to know like the music to play to make the snake chill. Right. So that's definitely a skill set. And not a lot of people are willing to put in the reps of discomfort because that's really all that it is. You got to do it like 1,000 times. And then you're just like, oh my God, people really aren't that complicated.
Hmm. Hmm. The door literally opened for you.
Literally.
But yeah, like I definitely recommend anyone who's younger to just start doing some sales stuff because it really, really rewires your brain on every single aspect of your life.
Yeah. And there's so
uh,
many closes that you can learn. I mean, I'm sure you've learned about all the different types of closes, right?
no, you might have me on that, man.
Okay, so basically, there's a book called like the ABCs of Closing. It's written by a door knocker, and basically, my job as a salesperson is basically to create a positive experience. And so, the more ways that I can make you say yes or have a positive association to the outcome I'm trying to create, the better I'm going to win. So, like, I'll give you an example of an option close. I'll be like, "Oh, so do you want it in red or blue?" I didn't ask you. I didn't ask if you want it. I ask if you want it in red or blue, right? So then I'm already making you picture you owning it and having it in your mind, and then you're forced to ask the question where you're imagining that. You're like, I'd like blue. Perfect. All right. So do you want 2 cameras or 3? And then look down, right? And then you'll so the option close is a big one, and then another one is another one. I got to give my buddy Oren a shout out for this. When you're talking about them something, you see any bit of positive expression in their face, like, oh, do you like it or do you love it? Right?
Oh,
And then
oh,
both very positive emotions, and then if they say love it, fantastic, like, yeah, high five, you keep the emotion going, you keep it high. If they say they like it, be like, "Oh my goodness, like, what did I forget to say? Why don't you love it?" And like, da, 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 and then you just get them to a place where they're now happy. So selling is we could do a whole I could do a whole sales workshop if we needed to. I've sold basically my whole life, so it's a lot of fun.
heck yeah, man. I mean, the cool thing about sales too is if you're someone who really just enjoys psychology, it's a
Yes.
really cool way to go out and practice,
Oh, yeah.
psychology and to learn about people and how they act. And it can be super uncomfortable, but honestly, that's where all of the actual benefit of the sales process actually comes from. Is those
Yes, who
super
you
uncomfortable moments.
absolutely. Yeah, and they basically when we were doing all this training, they try to make you do the most uncomfortable shit because you realize that all of this sense of discomfort is created here. There's
Hmm.
not actually real threat. It's old, outdated programming, and so basically, they'd say, like, "Do crazy shit." So sometimes I would go up there and just say nonsense because it would still go because they always say it doesn't really matter what you say, it's the fact that you say something, and there is a strong degree of truth to that. Like, I screwed up a bunch of times in pitches or door knocking. Like, there's so many different things that we would do to, like, make it work because the first thing that we're trying to do is you're catching them at a bad time. It's always a bad time. It's cold, right? So you have to neutralize the situation as soon as humanly possible and get them off of their edge. And so little things to interrupt their pattern, like you'd go in and you'd hand them the envelope so they have something to read, so they don't feel as like weird and awkward. Like, what do I do with my hands, right?
Mm,
And then you get them to talk about something you have in common. So I'd be like, oh, I was just down the street with Bob. Blue truck, small dog. Yeah, you get them nodding, right? And then
mm.
they say yes. Now you're not a threat. You basically just work through what you need to get done to get to the outcome that you want in real time. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Anybody who's young, go work a sales job. There's so much money in sales still to this day because so few kids want to do it. They think it's like a dirty job, man. They literally see it like how our parents' generation saw like contracting and stuff or like labor stuff where they're like, oh, I want to go, you should go get a degree. They missed out on all the opportunity.
Yes. And it applies to everything. I was actually just talking to this guy who works in IT and he works with Cisco.
Cisco?
And he was like, all these IT guys are like asking me, like, how do I like make more money? Like I'm in IT, but I want to make more money. And he was like, okay, well, you should do like IT sales and like sell the stuff that you do to these
Mhm.
companies and bigger deals and whatnot. And then they're like, oh, but like, don't I have to talk to people to do that? It's like,
Yeah, that's the whole point.
yeah, buddy, you do.
Yeah, that's
um,
so true.
it's the most valuable skill set, and that's something that won't ever go away. Like you
No.
really, really, really want to be able to convince people, or even just like persuade, right? When it
Mhm.
comes to writing and reading and really communicating out loud, verbally with your hands, all that, non-verbally too. That is one of the most powerful skill sets. And you want to get to where it's something that you need to think about. It's just
Mm.
something that's naturally a part of who you are. And then
Yeah,
from there, not only does this impact your income curve, but this
yeah.
this impacts your whole life.
There's yes, and that's why I love that you said that because the skills that you'll learn from a sales job, I use every day in my day-to-day life. Like, let's say I'm trying to pick where to go eat with my girlfriend. I'll give her 2 options, one that I know she doesn't like that much, and then, like, one that I know she does like, so that way she doesn't have to think, right?
Mm,
Because, like, if you have a million options, it's so hard to make one, but if I give her 2, it's super easy and she's happy. Right? You can do it
love
with
it.
anyone, right? You can say
Yep.
like, "Do you want Chinese food or this?" Because if you say, What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? I go on and on and on and on, right? So there's so many skills that transfer over to so many areas of life. But why we're saying, like, why we've talked about sales for the last 10 minutes here is because this is like a high ticket offer. And so it's going to be sold through a relationship. And it's hard to get, like, you can use content as a top of funnel tool to then get them in where you try to direct sell them. But if you can't do the final closing part, it won't really matter. So you could spend all this time learning this skill. If you don't have businesses where you can implement it, you can't make money.
Yeah, and the way to play this on easy mode for anyone who's still considering getting into AI automation and even social media marketing agencies is like offer to do it for free,
Yeah.
right? Like get some results for people, like literally do it for free, get results. And then, right, you've also started to build up in that relationship this law of reciprocity. We've talked about that before, right?
Mhm.
So you've literally made them money, like they're going to be happy to make you or to pay you for what you're doing. And the thing that's going to allow you to get from a better position of leverage is like, hey, I did this for someone who looks exactly like you. Uh, like, let me do it for you too. And that's where you want to get, you want to have testimonials, right? And that's where when you are selling, it just gets way easier for you to have that leverage, but you got to go out there and get the results first. Usually do it for free real quick. Maybe you disagree with me on that.
I don't disagree with you whatsoever because there's almost always going to be a serious knowledge gap between you and who you're trying to sell it to. Because naturally, if they understood how valuable it was, they would have done it themselves.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm,
I had to have that problem every single time, right? I knew that I was selling one of the most valuable things on the planet from a marketing perspective, but they had no clue. And so they're obviously thinking, if this is as valuable as you're saying, like, first of all, why aren't you charging even more? Right?
mhm.
And two, like, why isn't everyone doing it? That's the problem with people, bro. Our desire for social proof keeps most people poor because if everyone is there and doing it, the opportunity can't be great. But ironically, if people aren't there, they think it's also not great. Like, people are really fucking dumb. And so it was always a really tough sell to get it through to people. And it's going to be difficult here too, because you're also going to be battling the fact that it is AI. And so you need to have a face for your AI automation, basically, because you need people to think of you, not AI, when they buy your product.
Mm,
Otherwise, they're going to hate it, right? But if they know Steve who sold it to me, they know that they should be using it in their business. They don't know how. They need to trust Steve, right?
yep.
They're never going to go learn it themselves. They don't have the time. So they're running a business. So you, Steve, you got to come in and make them feel good. That's it. That's really what it is. And then that's why when I've sold to some of my like longer sales cycles, for example, I sold to a surgeon that I worked with. My sister was there with me as I was getting my surgery. And she's like, "Why haven't you sold him yet?" I said, "Because he doesn't like me."
Mm,
I'd be so dumb. I'd be blowing my load, and then forever he'd think of me as the guy who's trying to sell him. But when I got him and he was my friend, I wasn't selling anymore.
right.
Right? Because she was there. She's like, "You still haven't said anything." Like 2 weeks in, I said, "Trust me, brother. I've done this." Or sister, I've done this. And so I was like, he needs to not see me as a threat. I need to show him examples casually of where I've done this before. He needs to trust and understand that I am the person who can do this and understands his problems. And he needs to understand that I'm reliable. And I said, I need time to do that. And so luckily, I got to see him every freaking day as I went for physio. And then at like day 14, I'm like, "Hey, can we talk?" And then I got him to his office and I sold him on the spot because
Nice.
I wasn't selling, right? So it's also the art of the deal is a very big deal.
The art of the deal.
Is that Donald J? Isn't that what
That's
his book?
DJT. That's DJT,
I've
man.
never actually read that book, but I have read a lot of sales books. But you'll learn this intuitively from being there. Like that, like a lot of these skills that I do. And I was reading this ABC's book. I'd actually would recommend everyone buying that ABC's of closing. As I was reading it, I was like, I do this naturally. Granted, I've had my skill sets have pushed me through certain ways, but you'll find that the more you do this, you just kind of like, yeah, duh, because you see the positive feedback loop
Mhm,
where when you do
mhm.
it, it works. You diffuse
Right.
the situation, so you go back and you do it again because eventually you could try theoretical stuff and it could definitely fast track your success. But theory is useless because people don't believe theory until they see what it gets them in practice. That's why most people just jerk off intellectually reading books all day and they don't get anything better from their life.
Yeah, and this is where people a lot of people fall short in the sales game. Is they just don't get in enough of those reps and get to
Mm.
the point to where you see actually something working out, and then unfortunately you'll give up and think that sales isn't for you or this whatever type of sales you're in was a scam or whatever. But yeah, it's a matter of reps too. It's like you kind of just gotta grind it out and get
It
to it and
is.
get one of those yeses.
The added benefit of doing a bunch of reps is you stop caring about what people think a lot more. And you just genuinely stop caring. And the cheat code that comes along with not giving a shit is difficult to exaggerate. Because when you have basically it's like everyone else around you has a 20-pound vest on them. And if you don't care, you just don't. So when like the ball hits the ground, you can be the first one to pick it up and go score because everyone else is like trying to take off their vest.
100%, man. Uh, yep, yep.
So that's AI Automation Agency. Resources where you could go learn. I'd say go check out the Greg Eisenberg show. And what your
Yeah,
face lit up there.
there's a guy, Liam Otley, too. He's a really,
Okay,
really big influencer in this space, and he does the practical stuff. He also talks about how to actually get clients and things of that nature too. So don't
cool.
sleep on
Yeah,
him either.
for that one, I would also say it's probably not a bad idea if you could find a partnership thing. So, like, let's say you're the person who really is deathly afraid of sales. I still think it's worth trying to develop the skills, but it's not like you can't do this if you were to find someone to partner with and you are a good team to do 50-50. You're going to bring in the leads. I'm going to fulfill the service. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good setup for that. It's a great
Mhm,
point. Um, for instance, somebody whose dad is, a dentist and he
mhm.
runs the local dentist association. Like, let's make it real simple here. You
Yeah.
know how to do tech. This kid knows how to talk his, chops off. He's got it in his genes. So
Yeah.
go and like partner with this kid and take over the whole dentist of downtown Austin,
Mhm.
Texas, or whatever, and
Totally.
it's done.